Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. So this weekend, or today, is my debate. So we've got a new event that's dropped in the game, which is a guaranteed legendary event in a summoning rush. So you can see here we've got this summon rush event, and we can win Michinaki, who is a great champion for Hydra, a great champion for other content. So we can win him 100% fragments if we pull the right amount of shards. So it's a similar story to other guaranteed champion events that we've had. You pull X amount of shards and you get that champion. But this one is in the form of a summoning rush, which is the first time they've done this. So you just need to pull the certain amount of summon rush points to be able to get that legendary champ. We'll go and look at his kit in a minute. But as you can see here, we've got different milestones with different amounts of fragments on them, ending with 10,000 points with the last 25 fragments on them to get the champion. And you can come over to the summoning portal and you can find him, if we can find him. And there he is, ready to collect as soon as you get the fragments, which I am really debating with myself if I want to or not. So if we come into my summoning portal and look at the fragments, look at the shards that I have. So I have 8 sacred shards, 5 void, and 79 ancient shards. And if we go back into the event, each shard type has a certain amount of points that you get for pulling them. So you've got 500 for the sacred shards, 120 for void, and 20 for ancient. Now we've just done a void times 2, so I'm sure everyone is pretty low on voids. I certainly am. I had about 35 on each account when the last times 2 happened, and I'm running a bit low. So the easiest way for me to do it is to be able to pull my sacreds, which I normally save for fusion or fragment events. And I guess this is technically a fusion or fragment event, but I don't normally take part in the guaranteed champion events. I normally take part in the fragment summons or fusion summons because that gets me gear along the way, that gets me champions leveled along the way, and everything like that. So what a lot of people do is they save all of their shards for these guaranteed events. Normally when it's just pull 120 ancient shards, for example, they pull all of their shards for then, and then they're guaranteed that legendary at the end, and they can pull some champions in the middle. Whereas I do a different sort of strategy, which is saving up certain types of shards, and then I can pull them ready for fragment summons and for fusions when I need them. And that, in the long run, guarantees me a champion anyway. And sometimes they can be really good, really helpful champions like Helicath or someone like that. So I don't think that I have enough shards to do it. If I had 1 or 2 more sacred shards, it might be more viable for me. But on my Kale account in particular, I've got 8 sacred shards, which gives me about 4,000 points. And the 79 ancient shards combined with my 5 void shards gives me about another 2,000 points. So I end up with about 6,000 points for this event. I need 10,000 and I've got 5,000 mystery shards. And I, A, don't have the time, and B, don't think it's viable to pull all of these and then also pull 4,000 mystery shards in the background. It doesn't give, it gives me that legendary champion, but it doesn't get me much along the way. I've got good champions on this account. I've got good champions on both of my accounts. I've been playing the game for a long time. I've got my teams. What I need is gear. So there's nothing in this apart from that one legendary champion and the chance to get other legendaries. It's just not worth it for me in that regard. What I can do is I'll go into my other account and we'll just double check that one, see if it's viable on that one. I do try and do the same amount of each event on both of my accounts. So generally, if I can't do a guaranteed legendary on one account, but I can on the other, I just won't do it on either. So there's a level playing field, so that both of my accounts sort of progress in the same manner. What I'll do, I'll log on to the other account and we can have a look at that one. And here we are on my Galek account, guys. So the same rules apply. 500 points for the Sacred Shard, 120 for Void Shards, and 20 for Ancient Shards, 1 for Mystery Shards. So I've got a couple more shards on this account. It brings me up to about 7,700, which is a substantially smaller amount of mystery shards that I'll need to pull to get Michinaki. But again, it's just, I don't have the time to do it this weekend. It's already Sunday. I'm a bit late to the party with this guaranteed legendary, but it's not viable for me to be able to pull this. I don't get any gear, I don't get any champions leveled or anything like that. So I think I'm going to give this one a pass. He's a great champion. We'll go and look at his kit, and we can decide if I'm making a really terrible mistake by not doing it. Absolutely great skin. I think he looks incredible. And I have a bit of a love for sort of everything Japanese, and that sort of folklore Japanese thing that they've got going on with the Shadowkin faction. So it's a real shame for me not to be able to pull some of these incredible looking legendaries. And to me, this art style is just sort of A+, A star. So yeah, a great looking champion. On his A1, he attacks one enemy and has a 50% chance of placing a HP burn for 2 turns. And then his A2 attacks all enemies, has a 75% chance of placing a 60% decreased debuff for 2 turns, decreased defense debuff. Also has a 75% chance of placing a decreased attack for any enemies under Hex. So you match him up with a Hex champion and he does decreased defense and decreased attack. And then on his A3, attacks all enemies 2 times. The first hit removes all buffs from each target. The second hit places a Hex. So he hexes champions himself and then uses his A2 to sort of debuff them. And then his passive is whenever an ally attacks an enemy under Hex, this champion has a 50% chance of teaming up and joining an ally's attack. This effect does not work against Hydra exposed next, which I think has been added recently, because I think he was quite OP for Hydra. I don't have him on either account, so I don't really know, and he's quite a sort of niche champion in that regard, and this added thing to his passive is quite niche in itself. But I guess if you're attacking those exposed necks and he's just constantly going in, 50% chance of going in and helping out, he's just doing a crazy amount of damage. I'm probably making the Hydra kind of easy, but he's a defense champion, so his damage is based on defense, and his sort of base stats are quite good. 101 speed, which is sort of okay, pretty good for a legendary. You get some legendaries, you get some champions in the game with under 100, so I'll take that speed. And then high defense for his base stats and high HP for his base stats, and he's got defense in all battles by 30%. So he's a great champion, but however, I am not gonna pull shards for him. I don't have the time, I don't have the resources, and I get a lot more out of doing fusion events, normal fusion events, than I do just one guaranteed champion. As a free-to-play player, I need all of my resources to be utilised properly, and to use my energy to get other things out of it, not just pulling shards just for the sake of one individual champion. There is a times 10 event this weekend with ally protection champions, which are great. Again, I don't use any of these in any of my teams necessarily. They're not sort of A-star champions that I have to have in my teams. Taragi the Frog and Skull Crusher I use, and I've got a Necret on this account. I don't particularly use Necret, which might be a sort of cardinal sin, but I don't use him that much. I don't think I've got the gear to really make him a champion that can protect my team. He would be in my arena teams, but I don't have the gear to sort of maximise him and use him properly. So I am not pulling for Michinaki. What we'll do, guys, I'll give you a bit of a sort of channel walk around, just some of the things that I've been doing in the background. I've talked in other videos that I've been really working on Faction Wars, and last week I completed it. I completed Faction Wars on both accounts. So I've got Lydia there ready to pull. I'm waiting for a fusion or a fragment, so I can pull Lydia and get points towards a champion chase tournament. So then that means less shards that I'll have to pull in that champion chase tournament, which means I can have more shards for the next one, and so on and so forth. So I've got Lydia ready to go on both accounts. Nothing really new to report on my Galef account. I will just pull these mortal stones while we're here. Let's hope for anything legendary, anything more than a 1-star. Not great luck so far. A legendary. a Drex. I'm not sure if I have a blessing for Drex, and this 3-star for Demitha. I do have Demitha on this account. I don't use her yet, but I'm thinking a Demitha Heiress clan boss team potentially in the future. I'm just sort of hoarding resources to do so at the right time. So there we go. There's a couple of good blessings. A 3-star Demitha is great going forwards. 4-star Avir, I don't really use him. A 2-star Tyrell, again, I don't really use him. Another 3-star Demitha, what is going on? That's bizarre luck. I'll just pull these loose ones. I didn't see how many there was. 6. And I'll quickly just log onto my other account once we pulled these, and I'll pull any soul stones that I've got on that account as well. And I'll give you a bit of I'll show you Lydia, and I'll show you what I've been doing in the background on that account. And Lil, 1-star, I don't have or use, or will ever use probably. A Lil, unless he gets a massive buff and becomes one of the best champions in the game. So, oh, gosh, 5-star Fnatic, which I'm probably never going to use. I think Fnatic actually has a bizarrely good kit, but I don't know anyone that uses him. So nothing, can't buy anything there, bought everything that I can. So that's it for the soul stones. I'll log onto my other account and I'll show you what I've been doing on that one. So I'll just get rid of these red markers. Go away. Time to do my first clan boss key. Get rid of that. So what I've been doing on this account, I'll pull these soul stones. I pulled quite a major champion, legendary, last weekend. If anyone watched the video, they'll know who I pulled. If not, go back and watch the video because I was absolutely shook by it. So I pulled, yeah, probably one of the best champions in the game. I won't say who it is. Well, I pulled Sifi. If anyone doesn't know. If anyone doesn't know about Sifi, she's paired with Rotus, and she has 100% sleep on her A1. She does all the good buffs to your other champions, and she has a revive. So you can build her super fast and super tanky. She can go into your arena teams and sort of negate damage, speed up your team, revive your team if they go down, and sort of generally cause a nuisance to other teams. Nothing substantial in there. Did I pull, what's her name? Who did I just pull? This one. I don't even know who that is. I've got her. Deliana. I've never used Deliana. I didn't even know I had her, to be honest. So, was she a guaranteed champion? I think she was a guaranteed one. I'll buy this. Last soul stone. Kenichi. I think, is that the champion with the revive in the Shadowkin? Yeah, I think it's the champion with the revive in the Shadowkin faction, which makes her quite valuable actually, quite valuable for faction wars and stuff. So I'll quickly just jump in. So here's my faction wars on this account. Again, I've got Lydia waiting. She's waiting for another fusion or fragment for a champion chase tournament, so I don't have to use so many shards. Or I can really pull shards on a ×2 event rather than using them in a ×10 weekend that doesn't have a ×2 event on. So then I can pull in a champion chase tournament, get the points for a legendary, and then use these shards at a different time. And yeah, the other champion that I got was Sifi. So here she is. I've built her out. Ignore her gear for now. I just put her in the fastest gear that I could without taking it off my other champion. So I've got her in 302 speed, 55,000 HP and 2,400 defense. So nothing major, but I think she's the second fastest champion on my account. I think my ARB is 323. And what I'll probably do in the long run, once if we ever get one of those re-gear events on where it's a 50% or 100% reduction of gear changing costs, I'll probably put Sifi in my fastest gear. But at the moment I'm using Arbiter as my speed lead in arena. Let's see if we can find a good example. I don't want to be outspeeded, so we'll go against this this one-man team. So I've got not that team. Where are we? There. So I've got Arbiter as my speed lead. She goes in with the increased attack and increased turn meter. And then Sifi goes into Whirlwind Romance, which is the one with all the buffs. So we've got block debuffs, increased defense, and increased speed. So speed up from Arb, speed up from Sifi. And then Shiramani does the 100% freeze for the enemy team. And then Hefrak comes in, he buffs himself, and then he does his big smack on the A2. And I'll show you how that goes here. So you know, the speed meta is dying in the arena, but I don't have the resources to change anything up. So there we go, Hefrak with his big smack, and he takes out the enemy team. The only issue is with this team is if I'm outsped, I can't necessarily keep all of my champions alive for Hefrak to be able to do his work. But a lot of the time that those buffs from Sifi means that I can survive one more turn, or my Arbiter can survive and revive Hefrak so he can do his work in the background and take out these teams. So there's my Sifi, guys. If you watched my last video, you know how shook I was about getting her, so it's quite nice to have her built out and in one of my teams straight away. So that's it from me. I'm not going to pull Michinaki. I can't justify the resources to myself on either of my accounts. It would be amazing if I could. And as I said, some people hoard their resources for these events rather than doing the fusions and stuff. But for me personally, it's better to do the fusions, it's better to do the fragments, so I get other resources along the way, and I get the legendary at the end of it. So thanks for watching, guys. We'll be back next weekend and probably be doing a shard pull video, which we can all enjoy, and hopefully I'll get some good legendaries. Thanks for watching. Bye.